Rupert, how big is this SAHOS 5-axis machine here from Asquith Butler? What's the capacity?
Okay, so what we've got here is 5 metre by 1.5 metre bed with just over a metre in height.
That's some working envelope. Do you get the full use of that?
Yeah, we do. There's a number of options. We can either put one big job on there and work on it all in its entirety, or what we tend to find more often at the moment is we've got lots of smaller jobs. We can divide the bed up into areas and work on a job at this end while we're setting one up at the other.
That's very interesting. Was that part of your decision maker? Was that one of the reasons you bought this machine? Because it does give you that flexibility. Because most machines you might see like this are fully guarded the entire way round. So I suppose once the door's shut, you're isolated.
Yeah, most definitely. The nature of our business, we need to be able to respond to whatever the customer needs. And today, I don't know what that's going to be tomorrow. So giving us the flexibility to be able to work in that way is certainly a factor in why we chose this machine.
And interestingly, here you've got a vac mat there, which is obviously for vacuuming parts down. You've got vices, so you're kind of quite equipped on the bed for lots of different types of smaller parts and larger parts.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, as well as the toolboard material that we're machining, we might be required, for instance, to send the toolboard next door, have a pattern made, and have a carbon composite component to come back. So we need a variety of ways of being able to hold these things on the bed.
And is the board what you're machining on this machine in its entirety?
The very vast majority of it is toolboard, yeah. Every once in a while we'll make a component and that needs to come back have a couple of features addressed on it. But the main purpose of this machine is to cut pattern board.
And do you cut it fast?
Yeah, we do. We cut very fast. Initially, at least, the roughing operation, we can go at that quite hard.
What is fast in your eyes?
Gosh, in terms of an actual...
You run at 24,000 RPM, because I know that's the spindle capability.
Sorry, the spindle speed, yeah. So yeah, we'll be running almost flat out, and particularly when we get to very small diameter balls, when we're putting some very fine detail into components, we need a very small diameter ball. In order to get the surface speed out of the tool, we need that sort of spindle capacity.
One of the things that you guys have said to me today as well is about the accuracy of the machine. That's been a big plus for you as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and again, the sort of clients that we play with, they demand these levels of accuracy. So yeah, we've got a measuring system within the machine as well, so we can use the probe to verify the accuracy of the part that we're making even before we remove it from the bed.
And what are the types of parts that you're making here out of this model board, Rupert?
Okay, so I've got a medical customer who sends me resin impregnated coils. We machine diameters on those. It's really important for that particular client that the ID of his component is concentric with the OD that we're asked to machine. So that then goes away and fits into his superconducting magnet system. A lot of motorsport work, so it could be anything from anything from an aerofoil type surface to a wing mirror bracket to a funny little bracket, or those sorts of things. Absolutely anything. If you can think of it, we can design it and we can make the pattern for it on this machine.
And machining board fast creates a lot of dust in the machine, doesn't it? How do you go about getting rid of that, and is it efficient?
Yeah, well, that's a big concern, because just this dust that it produces an awful lot of the stuff. Particularly on a big piece of board, a big pattern that we have to make. We need to get rid of that, protect the operator, and we need to protect our machine as well from all this dust that's going to get into the workings and the components of it. So we expect a big extraction system on this machine, and if you look around the facility, I hope you'll see that actually it's taking the vast majority of the dust and dealing with it rather than just letting it float around in the air and settle on all the surfaces, including you and me.
Yeah, but it's also quite neat the way it works as well, because it blows the dust into the extractor as well, doesn't it, on this machine?
That's right. There's a two-stage process. So we put a big vacuum extraction system on the back, which takes the airborne particles away. We do know that some of the particles are going to be so heavy that if they settle on the bed, the extraction system's not going to be enough to take them away for us. So we've set up a blower on this side of the system that keeps these particles airborne and actually directs them into the extraction duct, so that helps us to achieve the sort of clearances that we're managing.
Some of the parts you're making, I've seen, there's a need for 5-axis simultaneous machining, which you can do on this machine as well, can't you?
Yeah, 5-axis machining we come across from time to time. It's a very valuable part of what the SAHOS will bring for us. And there's some components that we produce, there's just no other way of doing it. You need full 5-axis.
With this machine being quite new to the company and yourself quite new to the company, it's different technology to what you've got, which includes the hide and hang control. That was quite new to you. How have you handled that transition from another control to this type?
Sure, you're absolutely right. We had a bit of a learning curve. Hide and hang was a new controller to our business, and it's just been a case of actually making sure that we've got the right skills in place to get the very best out of that.
The machine itself, 5-axis machine, you've got a big working envelope, as you said, 5 metres. What about the tooling on this? It's HSK 63, and how many tools can you get on the machine?
Yep, HSK F63, fabulous tool holding system. The faster you spin your spindle, the tighter it gets. You get really good accuracy out of it, despite us having a very long Z-axis on this machine. You tend to minimise the run out with that kind of holder. We've got a 12-station tool carousel. And we find actually that it's enough for the vast majority of the parts we're putting through here. We just need a couple of roughers, and then we work our way down to, depending on the complexity of the job, to finer and finer ball nose mills, just for picking out the very finer detail of what we're trying to do.
I'd finally like to just talk about the health and safety element when you've got a column machine like this moving backwards and forwards. Did you see that as risky in any way, shape or form? Is there any overrides?
Well, it was very new to me. I'd never seen a machine like this before. And yes, initially I did have a concern. But when you start to understand the safety features that this machine's got, for instance, the yellow areas on each side of the machine are also act as bumpers. So if you were to come into contact with those whilst the machine is in operation, it would stop. And actually, it's a very good machine to access. And we feel very comfortable. You can control the travel of the machine, so we can limit it just to the very far end of the machine whilst we're working on setting a job up here, for instance. So the safety element has all been very well thought about.
We've talked about you cutting board and composites on this machine, but can it handle metal?
Yes, we've cut metal on this machine before. The reason the machine is here is largely to cut the pattern board, and that's what it's going to spend most of its life doing. But yeah, if a metal job comes up and it's right for this machine, we'll put it on.
John, 3 years this company has been founded for, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we started the company from scratch 3 years ago. Yeah.
And there's been some development here. I mean, it's a huge business now, I believe.
Yeah. So this year we're looking forward to our third full year of business to turn over about £8.5 million this year.
That's some achievement in 3 years. And some of these parts behind us here we see are basically what you do here at Lentus, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we've got everything ranging from torque transmission shafts, bike frames on the moulded composite side, other motorsport bodywork.
Because on here, we automotive and motorsport, defence, medical, aerospace, marine. Is there any sectors you don't get involved in?
We try and keep ourselves to those what we see as robust market sectors. But yeah, it's fairly varied.
And are you innovators and designers as well as manufacturers?
Yeah, so we can take everything from a build-to-print job through to concept, engineering, do all the design for manufacture work and prototyping through to final production delivery.
Nice bike behind you. Just briefly, what's the story on that?
Yeah, so we were contracted by Cervelo for the T5GB bike frame to do a lot of design work on the laminate design and then manufacture that component, which we've been using the SAHOS for in terms of all the pattern work.
It does look a nice bike. I might have a ride on that in a minute if you'll let me. But you talk about the SAHOS machine. You were involved in the purchase of that. In your opinion, what were some of the reasons that you went down that road? Yeah,
so as a business, we hadn't acquired any machines to do this kind of job, which was for pattern machining and composite machining. So we looked across the whole market. There are some very obvious choices out there, the market leaders. We chose to just take an open book approach to it and look at everything across all budget ranges and all technologies.
And why do you think SAHOS won? Just give us a couple of reasons in your eyes that really put it out there.
Sure. Okay. We felt it gave us the most flexibility. We thought it had good support within the UK through Asquith Butler. The architecture of the machine just gave us sort of almost zone flexibility and very fast installation time as well.
And you've got one machine at the moment. It looks like with the expansion of the business, there'll probably be more SAHOS machines, I would have thought, in the future. But you have got plans here at this site to expand even more, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We currently occupy about 35,000 square feet. Over the next couple of years, we're building further space in the 12.5-acre site we have behind the current facility. We'll grow into a 100,000 square foot facility.
Good stuff. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Cheers.